What happened in East Lansing last night is something kids should never have to go through, and parents should never have to worry about their kids going through. Up North Live's Maya Engel talked with two MSU students from northern Michigan and their mom about the horrifying night and how they're working to get through it together. She joins us live now from our newsroom. Maya.
Last night, Elise Hitts was supposed to have an exam in the student union, one of the places the shooting took place. But earlier on, her professor decided to make it an online exam. Elise's brother, David, he was planning on going to eat dinner with his friends at the union, but last minute decided he didn't want chicken nuggets again and went somewhere else to eat. These two students, these two siblings, were each one decision away from being right in the middle of tragedy.
I never felt in danger at all.
Until last night.
Last night. Once last night happened, that's when things got different.
It started off a normal Monday night for Elise and David Hitts. They were at their friend's dorm playing cards when they received the first alert.
Then I got the message and I read it and I was like, hey guys, this says active shooter at MSU Union, run, hide, fight.
We've gotten alerts before because there was somebody seen with a gun in a parking garage or something like that that wasn't.
But that was all off campus.
And that was off campus, right? And so I was like, oh, it's one of those again. It's not a big deal.
After that, things quickly took a turn.
I pulled up the police scanner and we started hearing reports of, we heard 2 black tags and 1 red tag. And we knew that that meant 2 deaths and 1 in critical.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when things changed for us.
Went from being there's a shooter on campus to being I could be next.
David sent this text to his mom. It seems like a normal thing for a kid to say to their mom, but for David,
I usually wouldn't just directly say it in a text or anything like that, but I just felt like that I needed to in case anything were to go wrong.
And Elise sent her mom this text.
If, God forbid, there was a big issue, an explosion or mass shooting or something, and they start like releasing descriptions of students they couldn't identify. At least if my mom had full names and descriptions, maybe she could help out other parents or she would know for herself.
What changed for me in that moment was before I thought that my kids were behaving like they were in a very unfortunate lockdown. And then when they sent those texts, I thought my kids really believed that they could have died that night.
After more than 4 hours of sitting in a dark room with the door barricaded, the shelter in place was lifted.
We actually spent the night in a hotel in Charlevoix because we just weren't comfortable spending the night on campus, just in case. And I think that the time that they called it all clear, we were safe, but mentally we couldn't.
After barely sleeping that night, David and Elise left the hotel to be with their family in Charlevoix.
When I came back here, bittersweet because I know that I mean, a lot of families don't have that opportunity right now, whether they're in the hospital or no longer with us. And I'm just so thankful to be a part of the group that is able to come back to my family.
I was relieved and grateful when they walked through the door because there was a fleeting moment last night where I wondered if they were going to walk through the door again.
Both Elise and David say they believe they will feel safe on campus again, but it may take some time. But for now, they're safe tonight at home with their family, grateful to be alive.
The mass shooting at MSU is now reigniting calls for gun reform across Michigan. And we're hearing new reaction from Democrats and Republicans tonight who tell News Channel 3's Autumn Pitcher that the pain is becoming all too familiar. Autumn?
Yes, last night's shooting comes less than 15 months after the mass shooting at Oxford High School, where 4 students were killed. Today also marks 5 years since 17 people were killed inside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Some students who survived those shootings having to relive the pain sheltering in place last night as MSU students.
As a representative of Oxford, Michigan, I cannot believe that I am here again doing this 15 months later. And I am filled with rage that we have to have another press conference to talk about our children being killed in their schools. If this is not a wake-up call to do something, I don't know what is.
Michigan Democrats and Governor Whitmer have advocated for a few gun control bills, some of which Republicans have indicated interest in. These include universal background checks, safe gun storage requirements, and red flag laws, which would allow a court to determine if a weapon should be taken from someone potentially at risk of injuring themselves or others. Democrats have very slim majorities in both chambers, making stronger gun measures harder to pass. Republican Congressman Bill Huizenga says he was disturbed to hear the suspect had no connection to MSU, calling the shooting an act of evil.
That was the disturbing thing, obviously, hearing that as well. No connection. It's not like it sounds like he was aggrieved from fellow students or a prof or any of those kinds of things. He picked a place where people were. And that's the evil behind so many of these shootings, right? Is you going and seeking out those innocents that aren't expecting it.
Senate Minority Leader Eric Nesbitt tells me he's focused on getting to the root of the problem.
Proposing bills that don't address the root causes of this, I'm afraid it's just as bad as doing nothing.
But to Nesbitt,
it seems to me that we need to start, especially as it looks like, and more details are going to come out in this case, but it seems like we need to start by allowing prosecutors, or forcing our prosecutors in some cases, to actually do these convictions and following through on those that are disobeying our current gun laws.
Both sides agree that addressing mental health should be a priority.
We need just to absolutely increase the number of mental health professionals.
We must look at solutions that actually prevent these tragedies from occurring, whether it's more security and safety measures at schools, as well as better mental health screening.
There have been 67 mass shootings in the U.S. since the beginning of the year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. That's more than one per day.
And we have continuing coverage tonight after that deadly rampage. News Channel 3's Mike Kravsik joining us live outside the Student Union in East Lansing, where shots rang out last night. And Mike, tonight the campus is in mourning.
Yeah, Jessica, and you could see this vigil or this makeshift memorial set up with the names of the 3 victims on this poster right here. Of course, just inches away is the crime scene tape that still remains around the Student Union. 1 student was killed inside that building. At this point, 5 students remain in critical condition in Lansing at Sparrow Hospital. Tens of thousands of students were on lockdown during hours of terror last night. Their lives upended by a gunman who his own father calls evil.
A memorial grows tonight on the Michigan State University campus, paying tribute to the victims lost in another senseless shooting in America.
I just got in my car, booked it out of the parking garage, got home, we shut all the blinds, me and my roommates turned off the lights, put chairs by the doors.
Students barricading themselves during the hours-long manhunt for 43-year-old Anthony McCrae, seen in this surveillance photo leaving the Student Union after the second round of shootings.
We have to get through this together, but it's terrifying.
Miles from campus as police rolled in, they say McCrae shot and killed himself around midnight.
We have absolutely no idea what the motive was at this point.
McCrae lived at this home in Lansing with his father, who tells news outlets his son became bitter, isolated, and evil angry after his mother died 2 years ago.
I'm blessed and I'm grateful that he didn't decide to do something around home, he didn't take out his neighbors, take us out. It's, super unfortunate.
Neighbor Megan Bender says she watched as authorities searched the McCrae home last night. Ingham County court records show McCrae served less than 2 years probation after he pled guilty to 2 weapons charges in 2019. In that case, McCrae told police he was carrying an unregistered gun while walking to the store because he felt scared.
So I took this photo just this morning.
MSU student journalist Wally Kahn has been out gathering any details to report on the aftermath of the tragedy.
We were hiding in our house. Our lights were off. The dog was in her bed. I get a call and they said that they were from the Washington Post.
Kahn's reporting appearing in this morning's Washington Post. For him, this story hits close to home.
In many ways, I think I was reporting and running around trying to find out if any of my friends were dead.
MSU police say it was minutes after they released the surveillance video of the suspect when they got that tip that led officers to find him. Grief counselors, meanwhile, are available on campus for students. Classes, meanwhile, have been canceled the rest of the week.